playful banter, tense rivalry, true love, and tension you can cut with a knife. Today we are going to be talking about the trope, I can't talk, the trope of rivals or rivals to lovers, or however you want to talk about it. I'm also going to be talking about some stories from my life and Anne of Green Gables. And it is currently 3:18 a.m., so I really shouldn't be filming this late, but I can't sleep. And I decided to film this video because the idea popped into my head while I was finishing this skirt that I made out of scrap fabric I got on the side of the road. Looking on the side of the road, I got it from my neighbor who was cleaning out her attic several months ago, and she was putting it by the side of the road, and I just kind of scooped it up and said, I can make a skirt out of this cute check. And so I did. Kind of a Makara Tours moment. I love Makara Tours. So, let's talk about the rivals trope, specifically rivals to lovers. This is probably one of my favorite tropes. Oh, and you'll have to excuse my wet, stringy hair and makeupless face. I just hopped out of the shower. Okay, anyway. Rivals to lovers is one of my favorite tropes, probably because it's something like I'm really into, I guess. I have always liked the playful banter and the intelligent kind of rivalry of the, rivals trope. It's just something very, I don't know, sexy maybe, about two people who are both very intelligent and are just in it to win it at whatever they are. And it doesn't always have to be intelligence. It can be like sports or something, where they're like in it to win it, to be the best and to beat the other person, and then they end up falling in love most of the time. And there's something just so adorable about that, and I love it. And I think one of the reasons I love it so much is one of the first book series, well, not one of the first, but a book series I really, really, really loved when I was, I think, in middle school and was homeschooling at that point, was Anne of Green Gables. This is a copy I got more recently because it was cute and on sale. And this is Anne of Green Gables, the first book. Most people know there's like 7 books in the series. There's Anne of Green Gables, Anne of Envolia. I'm going out of order now. Anne of the Windy Populars, as in trees. Anne of the Island, Anne's House of Dreams. There's a bunch of them, and they're all very good. They're very old-fashioned. I also finally got the movies, like the good ones, the 1980s ones, and yes, I got them on VHS. Bam. Because I collect VHS like a dork. I don't think anyone else does, but I'm praying for a VHS comeback. But these are just the good versions. And I didn't want to pay $40 on Amazon, so I just waited for the thrift store I go to get them in. It's an old VHS tape that was popular, so eventually it's going to come back in, and it did. So that was good. By the way, this is Flynn. If you guys are new to the channel, please like, subscribe, and comment below. But anyway, Anne of Green Gables is the story of this orphan girl, Anne, who's really smart and really loves reading, and she's really creative and imaginative, and she just loves. She's very romantically minded as well. And she comes and she gets adopted by this older couple. Oh, well, not couple. This older brother and sister. If they were a couple, that'd be really weird. Ugh. But anyway, this older brother and sister who take her in and raise her. She gets to go to school. When she goes to school, she meets this guy who's also really smart. He's also kind of hot. His name's Gilbert. And he tugs on her hair and is like, carrots, because she has red hair. By the way, at this point, I'm getting into spoilers for Anne of Green Gables, so just like skip ahead if you don't want spoilers for the movies or the books. Anyway, so Anne now hates Gilbert because he teased her about her hair, which she's super insecure about. And so she's like really mad at Gilbert. She hates him, but he really likes her and he wants to be friends, and maybe more than friends. And so he's trying to get her to forgive him, and she's like, no, I'll never ever, ever forgive you because you teased me about my hair, and I hate you because of it. It's okay, Flynn. I'm sorry, boy. Didn't mean to startle you. And so they go for like years and years of her hating him and him just wanting to be friends. And then finally, when they're like, I guess, teenagers and they're both trained to become teachers, she finally forgives him and they become best friends. And then they're really good friends for a while, which is the enemies to friends to lovers trope, technically. Anyway, so they're really good friends for a while. And Gilbert loves her though, so he proposes and she's like, no, we could never work together. We'd fight like an old married couple. And all the time we could never love each other like that. He's like, but I love you. And she's like, no, Gilbert. You must find someone else. Or something like that. And anyway, he ends up, I guess, settling for another girl who he gets along with. But then he breaks off the engagement because he only ever loved Anne. And then he's dying. So he's dying. And she just wrote a book based on his advice, because she's also an author. And she, as he lay dying, she comes to him and says, look, I dedicated my book to you. I'm a success now. I love you, Gilbert. I never knew that I loved you, but I love you. And then he gets better, because power of true love, I guess. And so he gets better, and then they get married and have a bunch of kids, and it's great. So they are one of my favorite literary couples. And in fact, in the third movie of the Anne Green Gables movie series, which is trash, by the way. Don't watch the third movie unless you want to. But I mean, it does include their marriage, so it's completely like against the book. But there's her with their kid and them getting married and all that. And if you want to see them kind of. These movies, these are a little old, but you can kind of see them on the back here. You see that? There. And there. Up there. See? Anyway, I love Anne and Gables. So you kind of have, and you know, they have all this playful banter and this rivalry, and they're trying to outdo each other, and I just love it. So I've got a story from my own life. Or maybe two. I'm not sure if I'm going to tell the second one, because I don't want the guy in question to see the video. Anyway, I don't want to say his name. Okay, but when I was a freshman in high school, just starting my freshman year, a homeschooler kid, but I was starting homeschool co-op. And for those of you who don't know, homeschool co-op is like a private school once a week for homeschoolers, and you have to wear like a uniform, like a private school. But you only go once a week, and they give you homework for the rest of the week. It's kind of like complicated, but it's not, but it is. And it was my freshman year, and there was this guy who sat like at the desk right next to me in all of my humanities classes, and this was a classical school, so it had like a Latin name and stuff. We had to learn Latin and rhetoric and logic, and it was a classical school, so very, very like pretentious, I guess. I don't know, and so lots of smart kids. And this guy next to me, and he was a little chubby at the time, but he had the most incredible eyes. He had these bright kind of amber orange eyes, and I thought it was hot. But I had a little bit of a crush on him, so I told my mom and sister, and they called him Orange Eyes or Cat Eyes, and that was his nickname when we talked about him, I guess. Anyway, he was very smart and a very kind of playful guy, and there was this our teacher, Miss Arnold. Shout out to Miss Arnold if she's watching. She was a fantastic teacher. Well, Miss Arnold had a kind of thing going where if you could use vocabulary words correctly in class when asking questions, she would give you candy. And this guy and I had this very intense rivalry of who could say the most vocabulary words. And we'd okay, so for example, I said the word pretentious earlier in the video. So, we'd be doing history, because it could be in, any class Miss Arnold taught. I don't think she taught history, but it's just an example. We're doing history, and I'd be like, yes, Cleopatra was quite pretentious, wasn't she? I'd look at him, and then he'd be like, well, that's true, but she was also... Give me a second. Yes, but she was also ostentatious. He'd look at me and smile, and I'd smile back, and oh my gosh, it was so childish, but I really loved it. I was like, oh, you're hot because you know words. I was such a nerd. I was like, he knows big words. He's hot. But he knew a lot of things, and we were both really passionate about history. I'm a history major in college, in addition to elementary education. He and I would talk history, and he knew so much, and I was like, boy. Anyway, but, what was I saying? And we just go back and forth and back and forth and back and forth and back and forth like that. Got to the point when Miss Arnold would limited the candy to 3 pieces of candy per person per, like, class day, because we wouldn't be racking up, like, 12 pieces of candy, because we'd just be back and forth, back and forth. And there, in other classes, we would kind of, like, try to outdo each other. We'd be like, so we'd, like, with our aunts, like, I'd raise my hand and be like, oh, yes, George Washington did not actually cut down a cherry tree. That was a myth, to kind of boost opinion of him and kind of make him a legend almost after his death, or at least during his presidency. And Orange Eyes, Cat Eyes, it's been so long I don't remember his name, would be like, well, that is true, but it's possible it may be rooted in fact. I'm not saying that's a thing, I'm just speaking. And there's indication that this is completely made up in my head, don't take this as historical fact, but there's evidence that his family may have owned a small cherry orchard in Virginia where he grew up. Well, he did grow up in Virginia. His plantation was Mount Vernon. However, you get the idea. So, that was a really big crush. It lasted most of freshman year. And sorry, I was checking the timestamp. I just loved this rivalry I had between this guy and I. So that's kind of become almost a type for me. It's not like the only guy I'm attracted to, but if I meet a guy and he can have intelligent, playful banter with me, and if he and I are in a class and he's trying to best me at intellectual stuff, and I actually we're on fairly equal footing, that is very hot, not gonna lie. So there's that. I've actually decided not to tell the other story, but maybe I'll save it for another video. You never know. I want to thank you guys for watching. I hope you had a good time with this video. Please like, subscribe, click that red button down there somewhere, and comment down below. And tell me your favorite trope, or what kind of tropey kind of character is true to your heart, makes you get the idea. I hope you guys have a wonderful evening. I am going to desperately try to get some sleep now, and hopefully have some time to edit this at some point in the near future. You guys have a wonderful day, and look forward to more videos to come. See you later. Bye! Oh, I should have a thing at the end. Hold on, I'm gonna think of something real quick. Oh, goodbye, and don't forget to pet your pets. Bye! That might change in the near future.